stars until it's written in. The constellations call me feeling dangerous, risk the odds, I'll face the consequences. Life written till you lose it on the dope given. When I'm up like heroin, got you falling in my skins. Take a chance, this is it. Oh, nah, nah. This you can love. No, no, go till we hit the top.
Happy Saturday, and if you've been running some fixed Indy 500s, hope they've been going well for you across the beginning of the iRacing Indy 500 season. I think I'm going to wait for the open setup rounds myself, but still, any good performance is a good performance. While we're at Indianapolis, we're running just a little bit smaller, the finale to the Indy NXT Sprint Series, the Freedom 100. Maybe a fifth of the length, but definitely going to be action-packed throughout. Howie Burroughs on the call, as ever, with Julian Altona behind on the cameras. And Freedom 100, it's a very typical follow-up event, or actually precursor event to the real 500, and there is a reason for it. Every small car needs to eventually take their wings on around this track, but it has a very different nature on this circuit, of course. Going to be a pack race from start to end, 100 miles, only one race, so stick with the pack and try not to wreck too bad on your way to the end. I've actually seen engine cheese, the likes of which I didn't even know you would get in the IL-15, but it actually does make sense. You realize, just start leaving the lower power on this thing, you're not going to be too victim to the sort of plow that you've been getting on iRacing fixed over the course of this weekend. It's going to be very much a race of trading back the lead around a mega super speedway for these things, and drivers are just wrapping up their qualifying laps now, so we're going to have at least 12 hit the grid, maybe a 13th if Sebastian Kinder gets back from an internet drop quickly enough. And it's down to the wire for this championship. It really is. Two very different performances between the 2 weeks means that there's technically 4 in it, but Adam Williams and Indy Kirkenbauer are so close on the books that they're the real ones to watch out for. And only one race today, though, only one chance to score. Things better go well for you on the line. Adam Williams is not going to have a fantastic start, though, just looking at those qualifying times to begin with, and he's already tapped walls on the way out as well. So he's got a road to make up, but anything's possible on these cars around this track. Final time to shout out this season, although probably not the last time you'll hear it on this channel by any means. This series is brought to you by iCoaching. iCoaching's high-level setups and personalised coaching programs take your iRating and race consistency to the next level. Get your setups for this series and the iRacing IndyCar series, of which we're covering the Open Series now down the line. Visiting them online at iCoaching.co. That's .co. $20 a month for the all-access pass. Hey, they got TCRs in there as well, and that's my sort of thing. That's qualifying wrapped up. Very nicely well timed on both ends, actually. So let's have a quick run through of our starting grid for 40 laps, 30 minutes, one race in Indianapolis today. Kaya Eri Elderston is exactly where he needs to be. P1 on the road next to Armand Lowe. Indy Kirkenbauer is behind. Third at Indy. Like to see it. Next to Sebastian Kinder, who was able to pick that internet back up in time. Alexander Weitzel is next to Gary Yost III. That's one other IndyCar community veteran on the track. And Pim Van Gastel lines up next to John Stellard in row 4. For row 5, Kinsley Norco is next to Katie Polak. And 11th, David Clennon is next to John Christensen. And Adam Williams starts from the back. Poor qualifying times on the board. It's going to mean that one contender's at the front and one is at the back. But I've already been pre-warned. These cars do not have the power to separate the field. It's going to be a difficult pack race out here on the track. Meaning you can pretty much go from anywhere to anywhere in enough time if you've got a lot of patience behind you. I don't know the length of the fuel run. I don't know if we're expecting a pit stop in race distance. Maybe my producer knows in my ear whether you can do this one on one stop or no stops. There will be one stop expected, I hear, within the race distance and of course with the full course, or shouldn't be. Well, I just can't hear anything. Who knows whether one will be on the board for tyres then? Who knows? There are going to be cautions enabled, so drivers might want to take that chance, but we will find out over race distance. Glad to have you with us, of course, to wrap up the VOR Indy NXT Series. It's been a fun little distraction up to the real iRacing Indy 500 and the real Indy 500 just around the corner, and obviously we got a lot more open wheel racing coverage on the channel, including, as mentioned, the iRacing Euro Indy Open Series. We'll be picking up the coverage of that, and we have an all-star broadcast team for it as well. Also covering Phoenix Raceway for the International IndyCar League, and more of the iRacing Indy NXT Series with Detroit and Worldwide Technology Gateway before the Indianapolis 250 for the International IndyCar League. Lots of American open wheel fun on the channel and more to come down the line. Including the fun on this track, of course, should be around 30 minutes of flat out running, and it's going to be a lot of lead changes on the track. Just try and survive though. The car is obviously not going to be quite as tight as it is with the IRA team, especially with the curses and the shackles that iRacing seem to have given it this year. Turns out adding a hybrid into the back of the car makes it even tighter in time. I've heard many a fun complaint about that one in time. I mean, you don't want to think this thing's got infinite turn on it. Dirty air can still be a minor factor, but you're going to run very close to flat out throughout the track, and there's a lot less to adjust on the way as well. Just a couple more turns to go until we can call the green flag here at Indianapolis. Of course, I believe we'll be bringing, unless it just happened in the past, we'll also be bringing the official Indy NXT Series and iRacing gets to race on the road course. But we get the oval in the great name of freedom and America, I believe is the correct way to say it. And the pack gets going. It's a green flag. Katie Polak has a black flag off the start, and Indy Kirkenbauer is the car there on the inside row that was slow, and we're going to have our first wreck though. A turn to make up for it. Oh, and it's quite a big one as well. And Adam Williams is tangled up. This could be a championship decider on the spot. It's more than just him though. That's a lot of cars. That's 4 meatballs on the road. I believe it does start around Katie Polak. She's one of the first cars to watch. Whoa! We are going to have to see how that car just ended up tumbling. John Christensen's bright blue, who needs safety on the road. So this would have started around Polak's car And then at one point, the onboard of Christensen is just going to have to be mandatory. But let's go through this one step at a time. Some terrible, terrible luck befalling some of these drivers, I think, near the back. This is maybe why track position was more important than ever, and Adam Williams could maybe win a championship if his rival crashes out. But Polak wrecking in front of that field began the trouble. Well, she had a slide in front of that field. Williams had lost 2 tyres on the rear of that car. It's going nowhere anytime soon. Here's how he got caught. Oh, horrible time and place, and in fact gets rear-ended by the Christensen, I believe. So he was probably in trouble no matter what, but that became even bigger trouble. Make that maybe the biggest wreck we've ever seen on the YouTube channel. I don't know, it's close and it's tough, to be totally honest. Oh, he doesn't even see. Maybe I have to see another onboard. I don't even think he sees what happens to Polak a couple rows down at all. His camera's a little bit higher up, so obviously, like, take the perspective of a pinch of salt. But he gets a little bit of smoke. He is running a bit too hot into it, given the smoke. But actually, he sees less than you'd think. And that's just a few more cars and absolutely tumbling. David Clennin is the other car totally wiped out by that. And Indy Kirkenbauer had a fairly poor start down to P5 on the start, but that was just getting a little bit bogged down. So that's 4 out already, and that makes 9 on the track. Did Kingsley Knockwell get away? Kingsley has a little bit of damage and has actually got to look for an early pit stop just to get things repaired. But might still be drivable, that thing. 8 still completely untouched on the track. Pace laps are going to be slow around here. They usually are pretty slow. They're like Daytona tier or Talladega tier, just in the sense you'll hear for a really, really long time. And that time just drags on just all that little bit more. Well, it does, no, I was about to say it drags on a little bit more in these cars, and I realised that's nonsense. That makes no sense. The pace car sets the speed of the pacing, and it's pretty consistently incredibly slow. Let's get an angle on David Clennin, and then while we wait for this to wrap up, you know, oh, here's another one that absolutely wiped out, bigger than I can imagine. So make it 2. Again, horrible time, horrible place, gets rebounded into by Nwoko. Does mostly get away with it, but Christensen's still going in the background. Hope 44 Nation's okay. See, this is just the reality of the IL-15 on cold tires. Like, they could just kick out, they can slide, it can all go wrong. The amount of officials on week 1 that I destroyed in this car on the first few laps because it slides badly, you know, they should have been enough to get me into iRacing jail. I wasn't sent to iRacing jail, but I sure as hell made a lot of enemies. So I totally feel what just happened to Katie Polak there. I don't know whether the movement of the car in front even like had any contributing factor either, but the cold tyres are just a tremendous factor nonetheless. Nwoko is back on the track after a 30-second stop. No idea actually if they have taken sufficient repairs or whether that car will be up to pace. It didn't look too wounded, but it did need 30 seconds in the box. Maybe it's all good now. Alderson leads, and it's going to lead for a little bit more, but I feel like that's going to get traded back and forth with Oman Lal quite a bit in time. Alexander Weitzel and Sebastian Kinder behind. I don't 100% know the point structure now, actually, but is it 1 point per position or is it more? Because I'm actually wondering whether Alderson has this locked up effectively now in terms of the championship, because there was a 5-point gap. There are now 4 cars out. If it's if it's 1 point per place with no, I'm going to get sent the point system. It's 1 point per place with no bonus. Then it almost just locks in our result straight off the bat, which is sad for the rest of us. Although P3 still very much up for grabs. We go green. So Alderson's going to take the bottom, and Marlal's going to take the top. We're going to go side by side into turn 1, which is a little bit less treacherous than the typical side by side entry. Could actually go 3 wide around here, and it still wouldn't be a good idea, but at least it wouldn't be utter death. Alexander Weitzel down the middle. Indy Kirkenbauer 2. On that outside, makes up several places on the bottom. Whole pack's going to be really compressed for this one. It's going to be a little bit more exciting than Iowa in that sense. Almost a bit of contact from the rear of Kirkenbauer. I see our point structure, and my guess is that I think our championship has pretty much been sealed on it now, because there is more than 5 points between the bottom of here and wrecking out. But we will get official confirmation at the very end. We will get the results uploaded online. Let's focus on the here and now. As Indy Kirkenbauer punches all the way up, back up to the top. This place is going to get traded back and forth a lot over the distance, so you shouldn't get too defensive over it. Shouldn't be too precious about it. And Kirkenbauer alone has proven you can very much go from the back up to the front pretty quickly. It's like, here comes Dwoko, whose car clearly is on the pace. You could go 4 wide. 4 wide is when the numbers start getting so high, I think, that they're fairly stupid and someone's going to get wiped out. Is on board with Law. Once you're in the middle of this traffic, it's quite hard to really work out where to go. Now, I'm not going to commentate every pass for the first 30 laps of this race like they're the most important thing in the world. Oh, there's another wreck in the back, and I believe that's what I'm starting with. Nwoko touching the grass, flying up the track, and Elderson's gone too. And there's a little bit of anger on the microphone about that. More cars down and out. It's just the 2, but I saw it all started with Nwoko going, touching the grass below the curb. That was Alderson's view. Does that make both championship contenders out, or am I getting it confused with Kirkenbauer? I think it does. So why might be able to do the maths in total here on exactly who twitch up the track from the grass. Actually a little bit of contact as well on a third car too. The front wing of Kim Van Gastel's actually sort of gone away with it this time around. Certainly a contributor, but I'm not really sure much could have been done in that situation. Make that 2 championship contenders wrapped up, and let's work out the points now, because actually I can do this one in my head. So Adam Williams finishes 13th, that's 8 points. Kaya Elderson finishes 8th, that's 15 points. I believe the gap is 7, and if I counted wrong, it's 6, and both of those numbers are bigger than 5, which means we could have a championship determined on the spot. And even if I was very upset about how it happened, that might still actually be enough points to lock it in. Remind me of the championship state going in, maybe, and I'll remember. Oh, so I had it wrong the whole time. It was Kirkenbauer. Oh my God, this is why I needed this earlier in my life. Oh, I knew it was either Kirkenbauer or Alderson. Well, Kirkenbauer was still on the track, so I think that pretty much locks it in for Kirkenbauer in an equal way, because now Kirkenbauer's worst place is a 7th. So worst place Indy could possibly finish. That's going to be 17 points over the 8 of Adam, and there's no drop week. So I do think Kirkenbauer has it. Kai Alderson was one of the 4 that was in contention, but would have needed an excellent finish. Liam O'Sullivan's not here. So that wraps that up, and Indy Kirkenbauer's in the right place at the right time. My apologies for getting that main competitor wrong. But so there were 7, and now that's all that proves no one on the field is safe, because even up in the front, bad things can happen. We've shortened the caution. Thank you very much to Race Control back at home for shortening the caution. It's merciful for all of us. It means we can get our racing done sooner around here. 7 cars now, and they're going to race very much like before. Kirkenbauer dips all the way to the bottom. Alexander Weitzel on the rear. Sort of dipped down and dipped back up. Here's Pim van Gastel. One of your 3-car train on the bottom. Four down up there. I do notice that Gary Yost is dropping back by a lot. I don't recall him getting damaged in that incident, so but maybe there is a little bit of damage on that car, because that's not keeping up with the 6-car pack. Anyone else can really make their move anytime soon. Here's Lau. Drivers dip below, dipping a little bit close to that white line for my taste, and didn't go all the way under. There's probably no benefit in going all the way under down there actually, but they were getting a little close, and gotta watch out for the grass. It'll just catch you the moment you come out the other side. Also, every driver gets so close to pit entry that I think they're going to take it. So Yost is actually still in it, still back in the draft, but seems to sort of dip in and out a bit, and certainly isn't getting the slingshot run. Kirkenbauer seems to have this front locked up right now as they're too wide further behind. Now dipping low, dipping really low still. So Kirkenbauer is borderline getting below that white line, exiting that turn before coming back up, trying to break the toe, but in a pretty extreme way up there. And he says only 1 black car on the track, so I know whose it is now. The Iowa incident, I think about it all the time. So Kirkenbauer's being really, really defensive of this P1. More defensive than I expected. You might have wanted to find a drafting buddy to go back and forth with, but no, Indy's just flying up and down the track. And we might see the move again from Indy if we look up front down this straight. He goes real low, trying to hold off Sebastian Kinder there. Then darts back up. It's doing everything to keep cars behind right now. Kinder's been looking for a way in for Team Watson and just hasn't really gotten it done in any way, because the aggressive defensive maneuvers from Indy up in front. Here's Lol. Hugs that bottom. It's about as dangerously close as Kingsley did, really. It's really getting a little bit dicey around there, because there's around Gastel to the outside of Lol. Most of these cars actually able to sort of hold their place right now, but if this is how hard Kirkenbauer defends with more than half the race to go, I'm curious what that run to the line is going to look like. Here's Pim van Gastel up to 200 miles an hour. That's actually 200 miles an hour is the cutoff speed for stock cars before they go, that's too fast, slow it down. We're just hitting that in the detuned IL-15 around here. Now Gastel to the top. Dunks down low. Lol, on the other hand. Gotta watch out for the way the safer barrier pops out at you. Not usually a factor in the typical Indy cars. You're sort of out of that groove of the corner well before corner entry begins, but these cars are a lot more agile, a lot more maneuverable, so there's a real chance that if you stick it too high, the safer barrier actually comes out to claim you. Real bad. Free wide, I think, down the straight is just going to be a normal part of play here. Although it doesn't seem like it's very fast for that outside line. Now Lyle drives up top. Lyle's just trying to find any line around the action, I think. It looks like he's getting a run. But he just doesn't quite get that run out the other end. And he's got Weitzel sort of pinned to his top side. Now entering lap 17. A lot of field management here being achieved by Indy Kirkenbauer. Now the gap's quite decent, but when the gap is decent, the slingshots come bigger. Now Armand Lowell's the one that's going to be challenging, rather than Sebastian Kinder. Weitzel's in it as well, getting dangerously close, has to duck out of it, go back up top. There's space for Lyle to take the run, I think, although actually no, he just got boxed in on the top. The two wide rows continue to box in drivers just behind Kirkenbauer, preventing really anyone from moving up. But Kinder's now just dropped out of it. That red car you can see in the background just falling back and back and back. Lyle gets behind, doesn't have a run. Oh, really tries to stick that car below for a second. And nearly washing up there from Weitzel into Gastel. Lyle's been prevented from taking big runs to the outside of Kirkenbauer due to the presence of Alexander Weitzel on the outside. And because Weitzel seems to get alongside on the start-finish straight where it matters, Lowell hasn't been getting that chance. Now he might think about it here and now. For the first time, Lowell's alongside down the straight. Don't know if he'll be clearing to one. The run isn't spectacular, but he'll be forced to actually race too wide around here. And a wall tag there for Lyle's going to slow him down, drop him back, and give Kirkenbauer a cushion again, halfway. A gap like this can lead to a slingshot run, and now Lyle's got a big one. Kind of finds it at the wrong time to make the charge for P1. Also based on where and when you catch someone. And now he's out of line, and Van Gastel's actually the driver that's going to get the toe off our leader. He's not going to be able to duck up high because Lyle is now the cork in the bottle when it's free wide around him. Oh, drivers are doing a lot of slowing each other down for this P2, I think. Indy Kirkenbauer is exactly where he wants to be. I mean, there's a chance he gets away. He's really dipping below the line on exit, though. is on board Weitzel, who was also dropped. Now it's just 2 up front. So now Lowell's the only driver close enough to take a run, and there's no one getting in his way. But he doesn't take down the start finish and flies up high. Starting to see field spread in this race now. Van Gastel's not out of it. Lowell's putting in a lot of work to get around alongside and scrubbing speed. And that high side obviously isn't the most fun place to pass through the turns. He's not totally clear. The next 2 cars, they've sort of caught up now. They're part of the chain again. Not much change of pace in this race, other than shouting out that John Stellard is sort of now in it on the bottom. So now make it 5 cars. Weitzel's going to be the one to try and pick up the torch here from Kirkenbauer. Now, we're not going to get a break in the middle of this, so anytime I make this sponsor call is going to be a bad time. So while you catch the racing on track, a reminder that this coverage of this series is brought to you by iCoaching. Get instant and unlimited access to the entire iCoaching setup vault with the all-access pass. Download professionally built iRacing setups for IndyCar, Next, and TCR on the official calendar. Visit iCoaching.co, that's iCoaching.co to learn more. Well, managed to sneak it in without total disaster. So, Lowell shuffled out, Stellard shuffled in. We've seen him climbing and getting closer and closer as the time has gone. Lowell's now near the back of this sort of field, next to Kinder. Gary Yost is out in terms of pace. He certainly has been slipping. I wonder if there's something on with that car that he needs to sort of repair, or maybe can't even repair. Some drivers dipping up and down, but obviously it being a pack race like this and it being a draft race like this, it's not really about claiming track position on the spot, but it's about working out what angle of attack is going to get you the pass for the race win at the very, very end. To the still Kirkenbauer sort of dipping up, dipping down. Championship pretty much entirely within his sights. I thought it was going to be close when it was Beck and Julian, like, oh, please upload the points by the very end, but I actually don't think it's going to be close at all. So at least that's one less headache in our way. We can call that by the end. Here's further back in the field, Kinder. Along with Lowell was one of those challenging for the top, but we've sort of noticed there's a pattern here. You eventually challenge for that top, you eventually get shuffled far back, and now it's getting a lot harder to make these places up. Now the field is fully single file and running at pace. The single file train continues. Lots coming to the channel. We can take a look at what's on the way as well as this field single file. And I run out of things to say. So yes, that's what confused me. We are going to the Indy Road Series for the VOR Indy NXT Series today. That's what today means. It doesn't mean the stream that's on right now. So more action around this track and these cars, but on the road course. Then on the 10th, it's the International IndyCar Series at Phoenix. We have Detroit to Belle Isle, followed by Gateway for iRacing Indy NXT and International IndyCar for the Indianapolis 200, their 30th running, the longest running IndyCar League and iRacing. Also broadcast coming down the line for the Open iRacing IndyCar Series. I believe we'll be kicking off on the 16th of June at Road America. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's the European slot. Other channels may bring you American time slots. We've got one for those that live in accents where you have to deal with people that sound like me. So, it's a balance, really. Oh, no, there goes Kirkenbauer. Taking damage to the rear. No, shit. That was a self-spin. That was a self-spin on Indy Kirkenbauer, and that is going to lock in a place of 7th. This is why you never get complacent when it comes to your laps leading the field. Dips a little bit low one too many times. I thought for a second he got rear-ended by Stellard, but really this happened well after the spin. He spins it. And everybody dodges that incredibly well. That's stunning avoidance. It's the concrete on the bottom that gets clipped that causes that. Stellard's the only car that gets tagged. So we can do a formal points calculation. I was warned that there would be a chance for bonus points. Do you know what that bonus point is for, by the way? I'm talking to a producer in my ear, leading most laps. So definitely we can give that point here to Indy Kirkenbauer. Led the most laps of this race, I think, by far. And no one can even come close now. More than half. So, you know, that's how the maths. So that's going to be a 7th place finish for Kirkenbauer. That's 18 points. Meanwhile, the championship contender, Adam Williams, 13th, only getting 8. 10-point gap. I think we can call that. We can prospectively call that a championship because also Elderson's out, no real chance, and Liam O'Sullivan's not here. So let's call that unofficially. Indy Kirkenbauer's championship. And one of the only wrecks where actually you can't be mad at anyone but yourself. So there's a little bit of rage on the field. Now, a few drivers stayed out. A few drivers have decided to stop for tyres here. We're told there's no need for fuel, but some have decided tyres are going to get them around there faster. And if you're going to make the stop, now's a good time. Stellard and Weitzel stay out. The rest of the field are sitting in that pit box. Well, they're not sitting. My replay was back on time. They're not sitting in that pit box at all. They're on the way out, actually. Joss stayed in for a tiny bit longer, so maybe some damage repairs on that thing. 5 cars left in this race. Primetime John Stellard, says Clendy Sendy. He's got a horse in this race. I respect it. I respect it so much. There's going to be a real sprint to the finish. We've sort of had our slow lull in the middle. We've shortened that pace lap one more time so mercifully. 6 cars run. And now it's going to be a real chase to the end. 8 to go. Make it commentator maths. That's 9 to go. No, it is 8 to go. Gotcha. Stellard makes the run. half-second gap between multiple cars. Quite a few got poor restarts there, really bogged them down. Not just the one. Lal and Gaston are really the only battle. Mainly to work together to move up. To the bottom goes Lal. Up front, Whitesell is catching, by the way. It's not quite as threatening as this battle, but it's not a total runaway. There will be a fight. It's ahead of this, though. It's a whole second to the next car. Lal makes that pass. I don't know how they're going to get themselves moving unless they deliberately swap places here, though, because up front, you can see it's getting quite intense between the two. Whitesell and Stallard. Been told by someone claimed that Toby Deck was P2 in split 2 of the Indy 500 right now, and Toby Deck just responded, "I am," new info to me. So I thought I was about to provide a really nice iRacing community update, and instead we just sort of ended up with nothing. 6 to go. We've seen the passes possible, but it took a really long time and a lot of work to make it happen. And Aman Lal has caught, the field has caught, everyone except for Yost, who I assume must be carrying a little bit of unfixable aero damage on that car. Seems like the only explanation for why Gary Yost just can't seem to catch. I presume he's pushing down the gas as hard as anyone else. Sort of in the draft, but he's not really been a competitor for it. Oh, Stallard washes up a little bit into Whitesell's way. Aman Lal going to try and take advantage, but Van Gastel's a cork in the bottle on the outside. Kinder could also join. Yost isn't completely out of it either. He's riding that top line. Too wide into the turn. Stallard wins out for now. It's all good. This is good. Race finish because all the fun of calling horse racing, I think, over the line. This is like our own pretty derby of sorts. Still led out by Stallard. Whitesell just sort of sits in the middle. Van Gastel drops. Kinder now not in shot again. The pack compresses up. Trying to hit the attenuator lull on the way back up. That would be a sad way to leave this race. I did see someone successfully hit the scoring pylon last year. It doesn't have collision, but their car phased through where it would be. They've been waiting for that in an Indy 500 in iRacing for a while. Stallard in control of this pack, and it seems like the lead is quite hard to lose around here. Give it another run of 3 wide. Something's going to have to give in the row behind if someone wants a chance to win this race. It's not fun to give up on that chance and say, I'm not going to be a part of this. Not fun at all. But if no one gives up, the win only goes one way, and it's at 81. A lot of space on the bottom. Oh, there's a tiny bit of contact. He gets away with it. He really shot for a gap there. That might teach Stallard a bit about leaving a car's worth of width, because that's the other way around that we didn't see when it was approaching the white flag. Every little move matters, and Lal loses a lot of speed there, washing up on the turn. It's still hard to lose, but it will be a drag race, and there's just about enough space for Lal to squeeze in here. Not quite the run. Weitzel's faster on the outside. Final lap. Lal wants to push Weitzel up the track and out of the way and say, this is my chance to make a run for it. It's going to be a drag race no matter how you slice it, but he gets a poor exit out of 2, and Weitzel's just going to try and take this again. We're almost 3 wide. We're scrubbing just a little bit too much speed behind our leader. Lal washes up again. He's going to have one more shot at it though. And this time there's no one alongside him. Lal has the run, he's faster, but will he be ahead by the line? I think he's going to be. He will be. 4 thousandths. And that is all she wrote. The outside line, often the way you want to win an Indy race. Maybe if you haven't done your 500 yet, consider that as your evidence base. That the outside is where you want to win it at the very end. The chopper cam gave me a good view from Lal here. You could tell he just had the run and it was just about his. This was the white flag. I thought he was sort of had trouble with the way he was washing up out of here, but really the proof's in the last straight. Now wouldn't be the time to make the move. You still got 3 to get through. This is where I sort of thought he was in trouble. And then the chopper cam through the final straight reveals it all, really. At that point, he was uninterrupted on the outside, had the clean run, and he was cleanly gaining. He was just going to make it on time. Actually, a little bit of wheel banging coming to the line, but there was pretty much no way to save that on the inside at that point. Apart from maybe wrecking him, but that would put us all into disrepute. Only the 2 laps led, but he saved them for when it mattered. He played that strategy game throughout. And Aman Lal takes your win. And we don't have the points fully uploaded, but I did do my napkin maths earlier on in the stream. So we'll talk about the championship in a second. Aman Lal takes the win here at Indy. And of John Stellard, Alexander Weitzel, Pin Van Gestel, Sebastian Kinder, and Gary Yost, the only 6 drivers to actually finish this race. Indy Kirkenbauer finishes 7th, 10 laps down. Kaya Eri Elderson tangles with Kinsley Norco, 33 down. John Christensen, Katie Polak, David Clennin, and Adam Williams are the next trainer who only made it 11 into that race before the end. Actually, no, only made it 1 into that race. It's 40 laps and not 50. New tyres could have been a factor, but I don't know if they were a big one because Lal and Gastel stopped, but Stellard and Weitzel, our 2nd and 3rd finishers, didn't stop. So I don't think tyres made a difference in any meaningful way. Now, as Aman Lal was a part of the VOR team, he of all people should know best about being in the interview channels on time. And I know Julian's going to do the great work of bugging him for it right now, but I got to say, lead by example. I will ping... I will ping Indy, though. Maybe doesn't know about the championship results, who I believe Indy Kirkenbauer as our season champion. I did the napkin maths earlier on in the stream. It was a 5-point gap needed, and the gap looks to be 10. But we'll work that one out in a second. We'll get Aman Lal in there for now. Aman Lal, you definitely seem like you were sort of sizing up your food throughout the whole race. Got it when you needed to. Did it feel in doubt at any point?
No, it was pretty difficult to overtake. Once you're in first place and you're holding the inside, you can't really get a good enough run on the outside. And yeah, somehow at the end I got a bit lucky, I think, to just get ahead of John there. I don't think the new tyres really made that much of a difference either, so I think I got quite lucky at the end.
How have you been running any 500s this weekend? Are you waiting for next week? How's it gone for you? How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, we did the first time slot, well, last night for the UK time. Managed to finish 8th, so that was quite good.
Well, you got at least one win on this championship. What are you looking forward to when it comes to VOR series down the line? I know the IndyCar series will be returning. I don't know how much you'll be showing to the iRacing Indy series.
Yeah, we're planning to do another season of this. So hopefully, even more people sign up. Because, it's a good car and you can have some good racing in it. So looking forward to that.
Any other thank yous or shout outs?
Yeah, thanks to you for doing the commentary, Julian for doing the broadcast as well, and everyone for turning up to this season. Hoping to see more people join as well.
Got to get a win in your own season at one point. Aman Lal takes it on the line at Indy. Still not heard from Kirk and Barron. I'm going to give him like another minute before we eventually have to wrap this up. We have inputted the points, and despite actually missing a start, Indy Kirkenbauer is our champion by 4 points over Adam Williams, who, if he got an acceptable finish today, basically would have walked this one. Kaya Eri Elderson is third. Sebastian Kinder finishes tied fourth with Arman Lal as Ian O'Sullivan drops well out the points entirely. I'm not sure we're getting the champion. I'm not sure we can wait forever for it. So let's wrap up the show by, first of all, for the last time, thanking our series sponsor, iCoaching. This time I'll get the right ad read, which was the second one. You get instant and unlimited access to the entire iCoaching setup vault with iCoaching's All Access Pass. Download professionally built iRacing setups for IndyCar, Next, and TCR cards across the official calendar. Visit iCoaching.co. That's iCoaching.co to find out more. They also provided setups for this whole series as well. I see Milwaukee, and I'm not sure where Milwaukee stands on the schedule, because really later tonight, our biggest show is going to be the iRacing Indy NXT Series. But we'll be opening season 2 of this championship at Milwaukee. That's the answer to that. It's a tricky track, and I love it a lot more than most. June 13th, 2026. Coverage late as ever. Been Howie Burroughs alongside Julian Alterner. Thank you very much for watching this season on the VOR channel, and I'm sure we'll see you around very, very soon if you stay subscribed.